Hello there, boys and girls, Spartan Nation. Ken, the super cool Spartan, my brother Brian, the super mad Spartan, Q, the woodshed, March Madness edition here. I see super mad Spartan is mad about my intro saying, hey there, boys and girls. Just wanted to
A little
switch it up
weird,
here
but
a little
okay.
bit. Hey, well, we're all in our joyous occasion here. It's bracket busting time. March Madness time. Everyone has on their pom-poms and all of their collegiate gear, cheering on their teams, seeing if they can make it to the Final Four or just to make it up the first weekend, depending on, who your alma mater is or team that you root for. For example, our cousin Kiana, she's very happy that the Howard Bison won their first ever not conference game, their first ever March Madness game in the tournament. So congrats to our cousin Kiana. Congrats to the Howard Bison. Now their grand prize is to take on Captain Kirk this Thursday. That's going to be quite a tall task, but hey, we've seen that 16 seeds have beaten number ones. Hasn't happened that often, but it's not impossible. But anyway, congrats to Howard, HU, doing their thing. Now, Texas and NC State are playing as we're doing this podcast for the other playing game. Our former Spartan Trey Holloman's out there. I don't know if he's doing his thing or not. Last time I saw that NC State was down. But hey, we'll see what happens. But anyway, let's get down to it, broski. Talking about Michigan State, March Madness. As they say, January, February, IZZO, April. It's that time of the year. Before we get into the green and white, what are your overall thoughts of the tournament? The brackets, the number one seeds. What's your thoughts there, broski?
Well, the number one seeds, I think they're, obviously correct. You have Duke, Michigan, Arizona, Florida. Florida, they didn't start the year off too great, but they got hot and look like they're trying to repeat. They're looking very good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I haven't watched a lot of Arizona play this year. Unfortunately, every time I try to catch the games, I'll end up doing something else. I only make time like for my school, obviously. But I think they're one of the favorites to go to the Final Four. We'll see. That school down the road, obviously they're number one
Mm-hmm.
seed, deservingly so. I can see them making the Final Four, but as we talked about a couple times, on the pod, off the pod, they kind of have a tall task with their guard play. We'll see how it shakes out for them. The Big Ten tournament they didn't look as the most dominant team, but also they're in the Big Ten and they've played these teams a few times, so they're familiar with them. But so we'll see. And then, bringing it full circle, I talk about Michigan State. I don't hate the draw. I think we're good. I mean, obviously, to get where you want to go, you're going to have to beat some good teams. And so,
Mm-hmm.
State has a pathway available if they play. I feel like if they play the way they play, like the last like 5 games of the season, they can make the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't play like how they played against UCLA. The defense has been kind of, up and down a little bit. Offense
Yeah,
has
a little
been
roller coaster ride
better,
there.
but we'll get into a little bit deeper. But I think there's a pathway for Michigan State to make the Final Four.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I
What are
saw
your thoughts on the
the
tournament, Broski?
when I saw the selection show after the Big Ten championship game for the conference tournament, my only surprise was seeing Florida make it as a number one seed. I think I only caught a couple of their games this season. And I think the one game I saw, I believe they lost. But since I didn't watch that much SEC basketball, I don't know how they looked. I think I watched Alabama a little bit more than Florida, and I caught a couple of Arkansas games too. And when we talked to Chris Solari, he reminded me that Michigan State played Arkansas in the non-conference, and of course MSU, they squeaked out a victory. But the whole world is on fire talking about Darius A. Cup Jr., who's from Detroit, and how a dominant of a point guard he is. So he appears to be, he walks the walk, talks the talk. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. But just coming back to my overall thoughts of the tournament, all the top seeds, deservedly so. Even that team down the road, they won the Big Ten outright. They didn't look that good in the Big Ten, the Big Ten tournament game. And I do think that their guard play, to your point, looks a little suspect, to be honest. I mean, even though that, they have Yaxel, I call him Yaxel Foley, being all world, and then Marup, he's not throwing his dirty elbows here and there. Yeah, it's the guard play that gets you through the tournament, and I'm not sure that Michigan can cut down the nets to win a national championship with that guard play. Can they get through to the Final Four? Sure. But winning a national championship, I really don't see that. And I'm not saying that, having my green and white, blinders on. I'm just, as a fan of college basketball, that's what I see. Even though that MSU lost to Michigan twice this year, Fears pretty much had Cadeau's number. I mean, he just did. And, if it wasn't for Yaxel, going up on 25, 30 points a pop, the two times we played him, I mean, it would have been a different story, but that's in the past. But overall, I think that all the teams that made it, I didn't see too much controversy about who made it and who didn't between, the last four in, first four out. There wasn't any controversy I saw there. The overall seedings seem to be okay. So, I think we're just like every year, buckle up, put your seat belts on, get your popcorn ready, get your shots ready. If your team goes on in flames, after that first game or first weekend, and let's get ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, with State, it's I think what makes people nervous about our bracket, there are a lot of the quote unquote blue bloods in our bracket. We got Louisville, Kansas, Duke. We got like on paper for sure, but these teams
Murderers
aren't
Row, yeah.
of yesteryear. Some of them, yeah. And so again,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, if State plays to the potential, they can beat most of these teams, even Duke, because Duke is coming off, their big guys injured. Um, you know,
Mm-hmm.
our bigs have been playing very well. Cooper and Kohler have been playing very well of late. It's just been our Achilles heel all
Yeah.
year. We're talking about guard play is our shooting guard position. I mean, just outside scoring in general can
Yeah,
be
that's true.
kind of a mixed bag for Michigan State. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and even
That's
if we score
true.
a bunch of points, it's just in our defense on the perimeter. The last few games is just we give up so many 3-pointers. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
think what makes our bracket a little more favorable is that we don't have a lot of teams guard centric. I think Louisville could give us some problems for sure. If once we I'm assuming we're gonna beat North Dakota State, but nothing is nothing is certain in the tournament. But
Right.
I would
Nobody's
assume we beat
safe.
them. We have to play Louisville, and then that will be the the OK, yeah, game. And if we win that, that gets us to the Sweet 16. And the Sweet
But you
16
know,
would
that's
probably
assuming that
be
Louisville mixed it out. Because I've seen some
South Florida's
talking
good.
heads. Yeah, I've seen some talking heads picking South Florida to beat Louisville. But yes,
Let's
continue,
see.
Broski,
All right,
continue.
Louisville.
Give us that path for MSU to make it to the Final Four.
Shit. And then the Sweet 16, I'm looking at the bracket, I'm sorry, Louisville. And then we have to play probably the winner between UCLA and UConn. And then that's when the real fun begins. Since Michigan State played UConn in the exhibition game, we lost. They didn't have all their
Mm-hmm.
players.
Not by much, but yeah.
And like, UConn
Yeah.
is the number 2 seed. No, we didn't lose by much, but we had our full complement of guys. But granted, we're young in some certain positions, and we didn't have our rotations down. But you can say the same thing about UConn. UConn hasn't looked great down the stretch. They're kind of
Mm-hmm.
a mixed bag. Can we beat them? Yes. Can we lose to them? Yes. So
A 50-50 shot.
no, it's just this Michigan State team. I know their record is they're like 28, 29, and 7. Yeah, we lost
25 and
7
7,
games
I
because we
think.
were 29. We lost 25 and
Because
7.
we lost to
So
UCLA in the Big Ten conference tournament.
correct. We haven't. The two worst losses have to be what? I guess you couldn't say
Minnesota.
Nebraska's a bad loss. Well, Minnesota's the worst loss, obviously.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd probably say
but
Wisconsin
all the other
because they
losses,
pretty much blew us out. We lost by 20 plus
true.
points to
But
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's it was yes. What I'm saying is like in terms of like losing to like a horrific team. Wisconsin, I mean, Minnesota's the worst one.
Oh,
We lost the bad shooting game, bad offensive game to Nebraska. Obviously lost to Michigan twice. Wisconsin,
yeah, that Nebraska game, that was
UCLA
like
after we blew
20
their doors
turnovers
off.
too.
Yeah, so you know,
Yeah.
it's just the state's going to play their best game or not. If they can play good defense and do all the cliches of IZZO, play good defense, rebound and run, and with Fears at the helm because he's one of the
Mm-hmm.
best guards in the country. I don't care how anybody feels about that. Yes, he for some reason has a propensity to kick people in the nuts. He hopefully does not do any of that stuff in the tournament because he's gonna.
Do the donkey
I'm
kicks.
I'm damn near guaranteeing if he does anything like that in the tournament, they're gonna throw him out the game.
Oh,
That's just
yeah.
they're gonna call it a
And I'm
flagrant
quite
two
sure
and
Izzo's
say and
talked
get
to
him
him
up out
about
of here.
that. Yeah, I'm sure
Like
Izzo's talked to him about that too.
I don't
So,
know what he has to do, but he cannot. I'd rather him fall down and flail and travel than to donkey kick somebody. Get like stop, just please don't.
right. Right.
And
Yeah,
so
don't do that.
we'll see if Curtan can keep up his good shooting. We can hit some outside shots from Jordan Scott, uh, Cohen Carr do Cohen Carr things, just play with a lot of energy, rebound. I mean, hit a couple of shots. I'm not expecting it, but he can do the run and dunk, which we love.
Mm-hmm.
And Cooper and Kohler control the paint. They have a shot. It's just, are we gonna find that consistency?
Right. I was watching ESPN earlier today, and of course, everybody could probably tell from all the posts that I did on our social media, because that's about every talking head that picked Michigan State. I had put that as a post on our social media. So you can check it out, Facebook and all the other things that we have here. But I was listening to Jay Billis today talk about his Final Four picks, and he was one that had Michigan State coming out of the East region. And one thing he said, which is something I really didn't think about, was that one of the reasons he picked Michigan State is because of their experience, because he said they're a year older and they made it to the Elite Eight last year, and that experience he feels can get them through, along with some of the teams that have higher seeds than us, like a Duke and um, UConn, Kansas. Some of these teams either have key injuries or their play has been a little shaky here and there. But after I listened to him, I said, "Yeah, that's a good thought," and that was something I think too you had mentioned, a couple of shows ago that with Jeremy Fears, especially, he's more experienced now. He's one of the top point guards, if not the top point guard in the nation. With the assists and everything else that he does, that can propel you through the tournament, pretty well. And as we know, with IZZO, all the point guards he's had, all the way back to Mateen Cleaves, with the Kalen Lucases of the world and, Cassius Winston, these point guards have taken Michigan State at the very least to the Final Four, regardless of, higher seeded teams that we've had to go through. It was that point guard play that got us through. So I think that's definitely a strength that Michigan State has in this year's tournament with Fears. He looks a lot better, of course, minus all of the donkey kicks and all those other
Yes,
shenanigans he's done. But when he's really on his game, he is on his game. And I think that is one of the key factors that can get MSU through the tournament, especially in situations where, you're going up against a UConn or a Duke. If we, meet up with Kansas, since all the top four teams in the East region playing those teams, it gets a little dicey. You can always go to Fears. And, he can be the one to, get through the muck and get us to the Final Four at Indy. And despite, some of our deficiencies, because, first of all, what team does not have a deficiency? But, with the shooting
true.
guard roller coaster ride we've been on all season. And, sometimes, the bigs, they went through a funk here and there. But this time of year, experience really helps. So I think those are the key things that can get us through to the Final Four. Now, as I said, when we were talking to Chris Solari, if this was about a month ago, when MSU went through their usual February ruts, I was like, Sweet 16. With the caveat, maybe making it to the Elite
For
Eight.
sure.
But as I said before, after they had that butt whooping at Wisconsin, they've been pretty much on fire. Even with that loss at Michigan, they had a better showing at Chrysler than they did at the Breslin. And yeah, they hit a little rut again against UCLA, but I think that will help them out, coming into the tournament. So those are my thoughts about MSU. I'm sure when the brackets came out, when I was, as much complaining I saw online, about, oh, why is Michigan State up against Duke? Michigan State is all against Duke. And we know the record that MSU has against Duke. Not that great. But who's saying that Duke's not saying, oh, shit, I see Michigan State in our bracket again? Like, damn, and we don't have our full arsenal of
No.
players? Because it's not like when we played Duke, that was a very winnable game. It was just those few key plays
Yes.
on the stretch that we lost. So,
Honestly, Fears
who's
didn't
to
have a
say
good
if
game
we
versus Duke
face Duke it again? No, he didn't. He didn't.
because there was
But who's to
that was
say
kind of
that
one of the
if
talking
they meet
points
up at the
about
tournament,
Fears.
then yeah.
So I remember after that game, there was kind of this thing of Fears hadn't shown up in a big game was kind of like this small bubbly the talking points that was kind of coming up like because he hadn't really had a big game versus a big team. I'm not saying he played bad versus the first part of our non-conference, but he didn't have like a game like, okay, Jimmy Fears is like the man.
Mm-hmm.
But after that Duke game, pretty much every game was
Right.
Jimmy Fears is the man. So, one thing we
Right.
talk about the path to get there, we have to talk about the other side of it,
The
the things that could derail
path.
Michigan State. Is one of the
Oh
big
yeah.
ones is fears. Fears and foul trouble is scary. Fears getting tired is scary because non-fears minutes are scary, and
That's
it's
true.
is what it is.
That's true.
Denham has to play. There's no one else, and he goes out there and he tries very hard. He does his best. However, it's just if he comes across there, he looks like barbecue chicken. The guards look at him and say, "Yo, him 1-on-1." They do it all the time. And so
Barbecue
can we survive
chicken.
those non-fears moments? And he can't get into foul
Yeah.
trouble, and he has to come out, cut out any nonsense that even he thinks his body wants to do. Like, oh, he's pushing me. Let me flare back and kick my leg. No, no, don't do that.
Right. Nope.
Don't do that at all. And then the
Mm-mm.
one thing that's going to happen too is one of the two freshmen is going to have to show up in every single game. We're going to need something from Cam Ward or Jordan Scott every single game for this team to go far.
Shit or both.
Because
Especially Scott, because
or
he
hopefully
starts.
both. Yes, we're going to need because he's a true freshman and he's had definitely way more good games than bad games. But there's games that, okay, we need a little bit more. Like we need that two
Yeah.
guard position. We need about 20 and 7 out of it combined.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's not like a tall
Yeah, I
task.
agree with you on that.
Like we need it could be Kurtang hitting open threes, Scott doing Jordan Scott things. He always comes up with a big play every game. We're gonna need about 5 big plays every game.
Yeah.
Cam Ward got into real
And
bad foul
he's
trouble versus UCLA and couldn't really do anything. No, excuse me, versus Michigan.
yeah.
But Cam Ward, he plays with a lot of energy. We need him to be tough because Kohler and Cooper need a breather. And Carr's going to
Yeah.
have to help out on the boards, which he has been doing a lot. He's been doing the last like 10, 15 games. We're going to need Carr to hit a couple of shots occasionally. I'm not asking for,
Mm-hmm.
you know, jumpers out the galore. Just a couple of them. Like, yeah, we need a few of them to go down.
Yeah. 2 or 3.
And so yeah, and we need a Cohen Carr crazy dunk every game. It has to happen.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For life.
Yeah.
You know,
That's just
the funny
that's
story. I
the
was at
minimum.
of course
That's the minimum.
at work. Everybody knows I'm a huge Michigan State fan. So one of my coworkers came up to me and said, "What do you think of Ball State?" I was like, "Yeah, I gave my synopsis. Like, yeah, they can make the Final Four, but I don't know." He said, "Man, the other night I went down the YouTube wormhole watching Cohen Carr dunks. Like, my goodness, just every game." I was like, "Yes, every game." He does a crazy dunk. And it got to the point now where he'll do a real crazy dunk and he's like, well, that's just what it is. Like just something just uber ridiculous. His dunk mixtape just coming from he's gonna be a highlight god on YouTube for a long time.
Oh yeah. When I saw Iman Shumpert, I don't know if it was his podcast or he was on one, but
Yes.
they highlighted Cohen Carr and Iman Shumpert was like he was like, damn, like who is this kid?
Just explosive dunks. Just because Cohen Carr's not the tallest guy. I think it was 6'5", 6'6", but he just explodes off the floor.
I know
And
his
I know we
dunks were
lost
like
that Michigan game. I just can't
7'7".
it was the Michigan game was such a great encapsulation. Yaxel comes down, kind of dunks on Carr. The very next play, Cohen Carr, two-hand yams right there in
Dunks
front of
on
him. Like,
Yaxel.
yes, let's go. There are a lot of dunks in that game.
Yes.
I wish we would have won, but
Yes.
Michigan's, he
Yes,
played out of
it
his mind. He
was.
actually hit 5 out of 6 3-pointers. But back to it. State, we can
Yeah,
see.
he was the reason why they won
I
that game. But
I look
anyway,
forward
yeah.
to it. I'll be on pins and needles every game.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Oh yeah,
Kenny.
that's why I said get your shot glasses ready,
All
with
right.
the tequila or launch your popcorn.
All right. We have our,
Cause
our list of
it's a roller
things.
coaster ride,
Since we've been
baby.
talking about Final Four, do you think MSU can win it all?
As much as I have my green and white blinders on, I don't think they can win it all. I don't think they can win it all this year.
You're excommunicated from the Michigan
If
State Church.
yes, put me out the pasture, but if we had a more solidified person for the shooting guard position, and if we can get like consistent scoring, especially with the 3-pointers, I would say yes, they can win it all. But as much as I love Fears, much I love IZZO, yeah, and to your point, Broski, depending on who the opponent is, I mean possibly, but I mean I'm going to say no. I don't think MSU has all of the things yet to win a national championship. And what's funny is going back to watching some of the ESPN talking heads have, picking their Final Four selections. Seth Greenberg, he has his, or he showed his. And what's funny is he has Michigan and Michigan State, of course, in the Final Four, but he has them both playing for the national championship in his bracket. Of course, he has Michigan winning. He's one of the few
I
I've seen that has Michigan winning it all. But I was like, oh, okay, because and they said the reason he did is because he wants to see the I guess the cold handshake between Captain Kirk and Tom Izzo. So
I
I
don't
was
think
like,
Izzo would
oh,
shake his
okay.
hand, and nor should he. Just
No,
for basketball's sake, I don't want
I,
to see Michigan and Michigan State play for national championship. Not that I'm scared of Michigan or anything. It's just that first 10 minutes of the last game was like, Jesus Christ, can we just play basketball? We got Fears donkey kicking. We got Mara back pushing and hooking and holding. We got just ridiculous dumb shit happening. That's like it's come on.
yeah, on
I
both
understand the
sides,
rivalry. Can we
on
just
both
just
sides. So
yes on both sides for sure. And it's like the rivalry is so it's already was super toxic in football. Now it's definitely seeped its way into super toxic levels in basketball. Michigan fans only care around certain times about basketball, but we've gotten to the they care and let's get toxic part of it. I'm like, I don't, and I'm tired of it. I don't want to see that type of game. I just want to see a good basketball game. Now, if they could go out
mm-hmm,
there and play a great basketball game, and of course Michigan State win, I'm all down for that. It'd be, I don't, yeah, I don't think both of them make it to national championship game. I can see both teams make it to the Final Four. I don't think because I can tell you right now, I have Michigan State in my Final Four as a homer pick. Yeah, sue me. I don't care. I have Michigan in the Final Four, but I have them losing. I have them versus Arizona and losing Arizona,
mm-hmm,
and then Michigan State. I would have us
mm-hmm,
losing to Florida, so it'd be Florida versus Arizona for the national championship for me. Uh,
mm-hmm.
but you know, bringing it back to our side of things, um, I swear I don't think State can win the national championship either. And part of it is some of the issues we talked about, just depth in general. We don't know what we're going to get from our two guard position consistently. The last 10, 15 games,
Mm-hmm.
well, not 10 games might be a stretch, but since that Wisconsin kind of blowout game we lost, we've gotten more consistently from there. But it's still not, like, hey, we're going to count on this guy to give us that. It's like, well, we might. And then,
Yeah, isn't that national
the backup point
championship
guard position.
shooting guard play?
It's possibility Fears could get into foul trouble. And if he has to sit down, well, like for let's say he kicks up if Fears picks up two quick fouls in the first 10 minutes of any game in this tournament, probably losing that game. Because I don't think we can survive 10 minutes
Yeah,
of denim on the floor.
yeah, that would be
And then
problematic
it's in the Big Ten
because you
tournament,
probably would have to play one of those
IZZO
freshmen as a
tried
point
Scott
guard.
out. Yeah, he in the Big Ten tournament versus UCLA, they had Jordan Scott
Mm-hmm.
played the point guard for a little bit. And he's just
Mm-hmm. And
it was the
Izzo said
first
he
time they
was going to
kind
do
of did
that
it in
too.
live action, and it looked like it was the first time I did it in live action. So can we just can we just have a magical run and go? For sure. I just in my head I'm like, yeah, no, not from what we've seen this year. And then we know we can go
Yeah.
into crazy shooting slumps, especially from the outside. Like no one can hit a bucket, and then that becomes
Mm-hmm.
a problem. So
Yeah, I
I guess I'm
agree.
excommunicated as well. Just take
Yeah.
off our green shade and just throw it all away.
I know. Let's take her. Yep. All right. See you later. Have a good day.
It's nice knowing you.
I know we're out. We're off the club. We'll see you guys back when football hits. But yeah, I think
I'm
that
looking forward to basketball next season. I
you
feel
talking
like that got to
about
be national
winning a
championship
title.
season.
Yeah, we talking about winning a national championship. Yeah, MSU's not there yet. They're probably maybe one or two players away from that. I think. I mean, they're close. Don't get me wrong. It's not like they're scrubs at all. I think they just need a couple more
For
pieces to
sure.
solidify. For making it to the for winning another title, for sure. But I do think that MSU can make it to the Final Four this year. I mean, I do believe that. Like I said, if there was a month ago, I'd be like, hell no. Just
Yeah, no.
especially when you saw them the way they lost to Minnesota, you're like, oh my god, like what the hell? What was that? And then how they got blew up by
Yeah, because
Wisconsin, like what are
it
we
was the first
doing?
half of that Michigan game at the Breslin. They looked terrible. They looked like they were a scared team in the
Oh, they
first
look
half versus
god
Michigan at
awful.
Breslin.
Yeah,
They lost that game.
yeah,
And then we followed up by taking a ridiculous L in one of the worst teams in the Big Ten in Minnesota. And those
yes.
two games kind of was like, ooh, that's ugly. And then, Wisconsin just blew our doors off. I have to go back and really study some of these teams we might come up against. But I feel like one of our Achilles heels in terms of defense is great guard, like outside shooting guard play. It killed us. And so
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah,
see
that's
how it
what killed
goes.
us at Wisconsin because their guards, yeah, they have a great backcourt. Wisconsin, I mean, I have to give them, kudos. I mean, because their backcourt is great. But
It is, but
they've had
Wisconsin's a
some very
weird team.
questionable losses because they beat all the top teams
Yes,
in the
like
Big Ten, but then they lost to some of the worst.
every
Like
single
what?
big team in the Big Ten, every top seed losing to the dredges of the Big Ten. Like, why you lose to Indiana? Like,
Right? Who
come
didn't
on,
even
bro.
make the
Like, you're out
tournament?
here getting killed.
They didn't even make the tournament, right? But I do overall see more good with MSU than bad. And I know, as fans, including ourselves, we sometimes do the doom and gloom. the doom and gloom scenarios. Well, if this doesn't go this way, well, if this happens, that happens. But one thing I've noticed too, or I'll say another thing that I've noticed about watching MSU overall throughout the years in the tournament is that there's always that one player that comes off the bench that the other team doesn't account for, that just does enough to propel us, to the next game. If it's like a Jesse McCullough or Trey Ford, I think his name Trey Ford, or someone like that who
Had a
just
great game
comes
versus
off the
UCLA.
bench and then just have I'll say a good enough game. Yeah, who has a great game or a good enough game to score like 8-10 points, get some key rebounds down the stretch, and is that particular player's play that gets us over the hump to get to the next game or the next round. So it won't surprise me if that happens this year, if that whoever that player is, if MSU does get into a little bit of a funk and IZZO has to be like, okay, Trey Fort, you're in there. He pops a couple of threes and, gets a couple good rebounds. And next thing we're up by 5 points with like 2 seconds left.
I want to
So
go back to a point that you made
I think it could
earlier
happen.
about MSU's experience, and I think I didn't really take that into account. Yeah, we have 3 guys who were in the tournament last year, and that matters as a core of our, 4 guys, excuse me. I forget because I was thinking we got Fears, Carr, Cooper, Kohler. So we have 4 guys who've
Mm-hmm.
played in the tournament last year, played heavy minutes. So
Right.
that that can
And they
mean
got deep.
something.
I mean, they got to the Elite Eight. Yeah, they got to the Elite Eight last year. So,
Yes.
and I picked MSU to make it to the Elite Eight because I figured if they got to Auburn, I didn't pick them to be Auburn last year in the Elite Eight, but I figured they would get to the Elite Eight at least. So,
I feel like Auburn
yeah,
was a better version of Michigan State. They had the scoring from the outside better, and they
yeah,
had
they
the
were.
I can't think of the center they had, and he just just
They had a better
unstoppable in the
front
second
court
half.
than
Just
us
bucket,
too.
bucket, bucket. Yes,
Right,
but this year
right.
our front court, Cooper and Kohler, they've been on a mission. So like
Oh
we
yeah,
we
they
have a shot,
have.
and that's
This their
all we can
last.
ask for.
Yeah, yep. And this their last hurrah because they're both seniors. Aren't they both seniors this year? Kohler and
Unfortunately,
Cooper.
I would love to have it at a
Yeah,
minimum
so
one
they
of those
wanted
guys back.
yeah, so they want to experience the Final Four before they call it curtains.
It's been a while. Been a while for Michigan State. I just the other night I watched
Yeah,
that
since
Duke game
2019.
from 2019. Yeah, haven't hung a
Yeah,
banner.
when Kenny Goins hits that three to seal the game.
Yes, yes, sir. It's just, and then we'll start to cycle over next season, and we have the same questions that will Izzo go out there and to the portal and try to get that one piece if he's going to do it or not.
Mm-hmm.
We shall see. There's going to be a
If
lot of
if
at the
MSU
end of the
gets to the
season with
Final
what's
Four
coming
this
in
year and
and
they
what Michigan State
lose
needs. There's going to
in
be
the
some decisions that need to be made.
oh yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. Unfortunately, someone's gonna have their feelings hurt because he has
Yeah,
some
I
great talent coming in.
we'll see
I
what the
mean,
roster looks
some
like next season.
like elite. Yeah, but we know Fears ain't going anywhere. So
Pay that man whatever money he wants. And then, we got
oh, you
the
have to.
Josiah Jervis, McDonald's All American. I'm just gonna pencil him in as a starting 2 guard. Like unless he can't play a lick of
Mm-hmm.
defense, but I believe he's decent enough he's good enough on defense to play. He gotta be a starter.
Mm-hmm.
And then there becomes questions after those 2 positions. Uh Because, all right, you got Cohen Carr who's there. You got Jordan and Scott. Those who's gonna start at the three, and then
Mm-hmm.
who's gonna start at the four? Like the roster composition coming up is going to be very interesting for Izzo. Um, we'll see because we're gonna need some. We need at least a serviceable center from the transfer portal because
Mm-hmm.
we have the 5-star guy center coming in, but he's kind of a. They make it seem like he's like a project. So you're not gonna be like, oh, he's coming in to start, and so okay. So you're gonna need a center with experience. Jesse McCullough's not really a center. He's more so of a stretch four kind of guy. He's big, but he's a stretch four, so he can probably give you, you
Mm-hmm.
know, hopefully step up and fill the Kohler role. But then you want to have Cam Ward play the five. It's just all right. We're gonna have to see. Like there's some decisions to be made,
Mm-hmm.
and someone's gonna get their feelings hurt, and someone's not gonna get the minutes. And so we'll see what that looks like come later this fall.
Yeah, and don't forget about that kid Caleb Glenn. Chris Solari had talked about him, who got hurt before the season started. I don't know what position he plays, but
Man, he would have helped this
I'm sure
team.
he'll be in the mix for something.
He's a wing. He's
Mm-hmm.
like a small forward, power forward. Man, if he would have
Okay.
played this year, this team, because he's a good shooter too, like a 40% 3-point shooter, well,
Mm-hmm.
could have used him this season.
Oh yeah.
So it's,
But
I'm on my soapbox now. A lot of people give Izzo guff about his roster construction, but they forget, like, yeah, well, that guy got hurt. That was supposed to be like a main piece to this team. Holloman
yeah,
leaves. Jace goes to the NBA. Like,
right.
you know, this team will look different if we got the Trey Holloman that we had. He's at a minimum, he can be the start. He probably have been starting two guard this year. How it was going, he would have had Fears and Holloman in the back,
Mm-hmm.
and then you could interchange Holloman out a little bit early so he can run backup point guard minutes too. Or if Jace stays, all right, Jace is the same thing with Jace. So there was, I don't not
Mm-hmm.
Izzo's roster construction just didn't work out. Like it's just some things happen. Chest support is a thing. Injuries happen.
Yeah.
So move forward.
Yeah.
Hopefully this year we can
And
make a deep run in the
and
tournament.
overall MSU, yeah, and overall MSU had a good season. I mean, most of the teams that
For
are
sure.
that 3 seed and above, I mean, just across the board, they've all had like 7, 8 losses. I mean, I think Florida, who's a number 1 seed, I think they had like 8 losses, like for the
They took
whole
some L's
season.
at the
So
beginning
it's
of the year,
not
but they've
like,
been mauling teams.
oh yeah, I'm just saying overall, if you put
Mm-hmm.
Florida, Michigan State, Illinois, Purdue, all these teams have averaged about 7 to 8 losses. So it's not like
Illinois is a
this
fraud
talk
team, and
about
they're going to get
MSU
put out early.
specifically. Well, yeah, they probably could. I mean, 9 teams made in the
Who have
Big
they
Ten,
beaten?
so I'm quite sure some of those teams have. Who's Illinois beaten?
Illinois finds ways to lose big
I don't
games.
know.
Their best
I don't know
victories, I
who's
think, is
Illinois has
Purdue,
beaten like in the top
especially in the
team.
Big Ten.
Okay. Oh yeah, they did beat Purdue because they beat Purdue. I think
They
at
beat Purdue,
Purdue
and then
after
they've
they
lost to
lost to
basically every
us.
other big school
So yeah,
they
I guess
played.
that is.
Yeah, because that's that kid Riley went crazy.
Oh yeah, he scored almost 50 points or
So
something.
we had to
Like
talk
he
about a
scored like
fraud take. Now I'm not gonna say
46.
they're frauds, like 43. And I'm not gonna hate too much on them. I
No,
just
too
think
late.
their fan base is
You
funny.
already
That's
said they're
all.
Yeah,
No,
but hey, I mean, you do
they're
have a
not gonna
good
make any
point. I
noise in the
mean,
tournament.
Illinois as much shit.
I'm certain of that.
Yeah, I mean, as much shit as the you talk about Illinois. Yeah, I mean, historically, the only time Illinois had a very good, and I know we're kind of off base here, So I apologize in advance to all of our faithful followers here. We're just kind of bantering right now. But the last time Illinois had a very good run the tournament was back in the early 2000s, I think, maybe
I feel
2010s.
like a couple years ago they went to like the Elite Eight, I think. So that was a good run. I'm not gonna hate on that. I think that was a Terrence. It was a uh, Terrence Shannon
Are
year.
you sure?
I think they would. I think they did.
With who?
He's in the NBA. Terrence Shannon. They retired his jersey like last. Remember they had a jersey retirement when they played
Oh,
them
okay.
last year and we
I
beat
remember
them,
Terrence.
and they had his
Yeah,
jersey upside down and shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's a
yeah. I
baller.
remember
He's a
that. I remember
stone
that.
cold
Okay,
baller. I
Terrence
think
Shannon. Okay,
they elite. I
yeah.
think they made it to the Sweet 16, Great Elite Eight. I think so. A couple years ago, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
neither here nor there.
They made it to the Final Four, though.
Neither here nor there.
Ah, yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. So, who were your Final Four? Oh, you're sorry, my bad. You already said who your Final Four teams were. Who were
Yeah, I
mine? That's a
got
good question.
Michigan State, Florida,
Um,
Arizona, Michigan. How about you, broski?
yeah, I have three of those teams. I have MSU, Florida, Arizona. I have a toss up between Iowa State and Michigan. Just because of just some of the things I've seen, some of the talking heads, and I haven't watched Iowa State play at all this year. But if I had to choose, um, I guess I'll throw Michigan in there too. I guess my Final Four picks would, mirror yours. But I wouldn't be surprised if
Fine.
Michigan got popped in the Elite Eight because again, for that guard play, boy, that's a little
You're gonna have
suspect.
to see it. Yeah.
But as far as who's winning it all, that's a good question too. I've heard a lot about Arizona, even though I haven't seen them play. I know you just talked about Florida. So if I had to gun to my head, I guess I would choose Arizona.
It's like you
So
cheating
there it
off me. That's
is.
what I have. I think Arizona's gonna win it all. But I wouldn't be surprised if Florida repeats because, like I said, at the beginning of the year they looked a little bit funky, but then they just started
Mm-hmm.
rolling. And they have the backcourt's good and their bigs are phenomenal. So it's always a good
Mm-hmm.
recipe. And they have a decent enough depth too to make it through. So um
Okay.
I'll go with Arizona. I think is gonna win it all. Because they were
Mm-hmm.
one of the best teams like consistent
Zona.
throughout the year.
Yeah, that's true. They have been. Now I have seen that from some of the highlights I've seen watching the college basketball shows. They've they've been pretty consistent all year. But hey, we'll see. I mean, they could get popped in the Sweet 16. We don't know. They could have an off day shooting.
And any one of these teams could lose.
And
Because one thing
right.
I go back
And
to
in
your point
one
about the
game.
experience piece. Some of these I'm gonna say some of these teams you never heard of, yeah, they have 4 25-year-old men probably starting for them, so you never know. Like, yo, that can get you some victories nowadays.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Especially with, this is just from the NBA talk. You have a lot of, highly talented freshmen who are going to be definitely one and dones playing in the tournament this year. And, they don't have the experience to, get through March Madness. So if they have an off night, some of these teams, they're not going to make it that far, but it doesn't matter because if you're projected to be the number one pick in the NBA draft,
Yeah.
show me the money. But well, alrighty then, broski. I think it's that time of the podcast where you put on. I put on my Alex Trebek hat on to get you out of here with the fun hoops facts / Final Jeopardy question here. I think this time I put together a good one for you to miss. At least I hope so. But
Okay.
I think I got a doozy here for you because I'm the one who's been taking losses so far. So I need to get a couple of L's to at least get back to 500, or at least like 2 games above
So for
500.
W's, you mean you can take all the
So
L's. You can take all the L's.
yes, W's. I said L's. I don't need any more L's. I need W's. So here we go. So tonight's Final Jeopardy question is, what team did IZZO beat in the Final Four to play in the national championship in the 2000 season? The year they won the Final Four, the year that that the Big Ten last won a national championship. Was it Kentucky, Syracuse, or Wisconsin? What team did IZZO beat to make it to the national championship in the 2000 season when he won the title? Yep, you really
Wisconsin.
thinking, aren't you? Are you sure? Is that your final
I'm going
answer?
Wisconsin.
You're right. Damn. Yes, that is
How about
correct.
you, Alice? I think they play Kentucky though?
Who did Michigan
Because
State
I
that
was
year?
younger when this. Yeah, because I know they played Kentucky and Wisconsin in the tournament. I don't know if they played them that same year, but I know they played Florida obviously for national championship game. We watched that as a family together, um, back in the days. Uh,
Oh yeah,
I have to
you was
look
just
it
a
up because
teenager when
I
they
know
played.
Wisconsin. I remember. I know it was Wisconsin though. Barely a teenager.
Yes, that is
Barely.
correct. They did
I
play
wasn't in high school
Wisconsin
yet. I
to
was in
make it
middle school.
into the national championship game. Yes, you're just a year. I think you're just maybe a year older than your nephew, my son, Mr. Ethan 8-Bit Williams, when they played that game. You want to know what the score was? I mean,
It was a gross game. It was like
this game
50 to
was
49 or
this
something
game
stupid.
was
Like
like a struggle. This game was like a struggle bus in terms of points. When I saw this, I was like, God, it was like playing football on the basketball court. The score was MSU won 53-41.
probably a
53 to
while ago
41. I was like, God
I
damn.
went back and watched all the two runs. I watched the that runs national championship because the NCAA website, they have a lot of these games still like available to watch. And so when I
Oh,
was
they
at one of
do?
my
Okay.
jobs where I could actually be on the computer, I watched their run. I remember watching the game like,
Uh-huh.
Jesus, this game is just bad. Just
Yeah.
bad. But yeah. So I remember
That was
watching
back in
that
the
one.
Bo Ryan days of Wisconsin. He looked he looked like the old school Dracula, like from
The
the
Vampire,
1950s. Yeah, he
Bo
had that
Ryan.
old school
What I used to
because he
call
had the little thing right there in his hair.
Widow's Peak.
And he looked at his hair's all slicked back. Yeah, widow's peak. The only thing he needed was some fangs and a cape. on the sideline.
Yeah.
But oh my God, 53 to
Oh
41.
right,
Like
my goodness.
Jesus. And then
Hey,
they turn
that's all
around and score
all that
almost
matters is he
90
had more
points
points
to
than
beat
them.
Florida in the national championship game. Yes, that's all that matters, having more
Team
points. But,
limping around.
if you're all, yes, if you're an offense guy, you hated watching that game. If you love defense, that was your game.
I don't know if it
So,
was defense, just a
yes,
lot of
but
broke jumpers.
but yes, so another L in the category for me. So next time I'll have to come up with you some better. I'm gonna have to like go back in the crates, like back in the Judd Heathcote days to find some questions to stump you, broski, because
What does it call it?
can't keep taking these L's to you.
BI before IZZO.
Right. I'm about to find some facts when Magic played at Michigan State to see if you can get some L's on your roster there. But well, all right. We come to that time of the podcast, boys and girls, the end. As always, keep in touch with us on our social media. We'd love to hear from everybody. We do reply to the comments that we receive, so keep on bringing those comments. If you love us, hate us, feeling different, we don't matter. We'll make sure to get at you guys. And, we'll be back here, after the tournament, at least the week, round one, the opening weekend, see where MSU is at, keep the train
Win or
rolling
loss.
as always. Right, win or loss. If we lose, then, we definitely going to be, I'm going to bring some shots here on the screen, like,
Oh my
during
goodness.
the, when we talked, like we were watching, Jonathan Smith does his Borg impression. I'm bringing plenty of shots and tequila, and we're just going to pour out a little liquor if we get bounced off the first weekend. So I'm saying that now.
That would
But
be horrific.
we're gonna put
But
out good
yeah.
vibes for the IZZO. So, and IZZO we trust. IZZO we trust. So with that, I'm Ken, the super cool Spartan. My brother Brian, the super mad Spartan. Cue the woodshed, and we out. Go green.
Go white.